in exactly 10 minutes. That was a very, very excellent presentation, and I want to thank you for giving us the very good insights, as usual, on how to get insurance for practitioners in the agribusiness space. This is a very important thing that you've talked about. Three broad headings that you've talked about. First, you've talked about understanding what investors should be insuring. And then you've also talked about how to make insurance work for the agribusiness owner. And finally, what should we be insuring? So thank you so very much for capturing a very broad topic in 10 excellent minutes. Thank you. So before we take the Q&A, I would like to take the second speaker. And the second speaker is someone that we are all very proud to look up to. She is Mrs. Folashade Joseph, who is the CEO of the Nigeria Agricultural Insurance Corporation. She's a fellow of the Association of the National Accountants of Nigeria and also Chartered Certified Systems Accountant in USA. She's also a certified insurer. She's a member of the Chartered Institute of Insurance in Nigeria and the Institute of Directors. She has worked in multiple industries, and one of them is ExxonMobil PLC. And she is currently, like I said earlier, the CEO of the Nigerian Agricultural Insurance Corporation. Today, she's going to share with us again on insurance for investors' capital. And we are really happy to hear from her because she's an authority in this space, especially as it concerns the agribusiness industry. I think Mrs. Folashade Joseph is represented, and so we want to invite her representative to speak on her behalf. You're welcome, sir.
Good afternoon, all. Are you hearing me?
Yes, we can hear you loud and clear.
Okay, my name is Jerome Oloyeye. I'm representing Mrs. Folashade Joseph, the Managing Director of Nigerian Agricultural Insurance Corporation.
You're welcome, Mr. Oloyeye. You're very welcome. Apologies for not recognizing you, but you're welcome.
Thanks so much. The MD would have loved to be here, but there are a lot of issues occupying time. She sends her warm regards, and I want to apologize on her behalf. And I want to promise that if she gets another chance for invitation, I'm promising on her behalf that she will be she will be personally represented. On that note, I want to appreciate the organizers of the webinar. I want to thank those who have spoken before us. Unfortunately, I couldn't join you yesterday because the link was not sent to me. It was just sent to me today. And I would have loved to join you yesterday. But nevertheless, I want to appreciate the Mr. Karete, who spoke just before me. He covered a lot of grounds in insurance. And my slides are many, so I won't bother you sharing it. But I can send it to your email so that I can forward it to participants later. He has covered a lot about insurance, talking about speculative risks that cannot be covered. He talked about agricultural insurance, the need for it for farmers. He talks about the issue of trust. I will quickly just talk about the value chain in agriculture. We know the value chain starts from farm input supplies to production, to processing, to storage, and to market. That is the agricultural value chain. And every of these value chain has its own product covering it. When you talk about farm input, for example, you talk about those that are being transported from one place to the other, those that are being imported abroad, that can be covered by marine insurance. The one being moved from one place to the other can be covered by goods in transit and so on. And when you talk about production, you have diverse crops and livestock being produced. Each of the crops, each of the livestock has its own policy coverage and documentation. When you talk about processing, talk about industries, factories, plants, the machinery breakdown, and so on, they have covers for that. And when you talk about storage, we have cover for storage, goods in storage, policies that are covering breaking, theft, burglary, and so on. And then the major problem with insurance of agricultural produce is market. We are still developing products covering market because the market, agricultural produce market in Nigeria is a bit volatile. No product, no market stability. You can see to a month, sometimes maybe within a month or 2 months, you can witness the prices of products changing. You can witness maybe presently a mudu of corn, maize, is being sold for about 200 naira. In about 2-3 months, you might have a change. It might just change to about 500, depending on the situation of the economy and the demand and supply pool. So, but for each of these aspect of the value chain, you have cover for them. I don't want to repeat what Mr. Ekaite has said because he has said it and we have just 10 minutes. And I want to try as much as possible to cover as few, as much as possible from my slides. Having said that, I want to look at the weak links in the agricultural value chain. The weak links, as the first speaker said, mentioned is that the issue of trust in insurance, the major thing the insurer is selling is trust. And this trust is not only on the part of the insurer. Hello, are you with me? Hello?
We can hear you, Mr. Joseph. Please, I'm sorry. Okay, we can hear you. Please continue. Sorry.
So the issue of trust is what the insurer is selling. And this trust is not only on the part of the insurer, it's also on the part of the insured or the client that is being covered. And we call it utmost good faith, which means that the insurer, the insured must present the risk totally as it is. Nothing must be hidden. It's just like a lawyer, a client who hired a lawyer, who wants the lawyer to defend him. You must come clean to the lawyer, telling him every aspect of the case. The same thing with insurance. The client must present the project, the agricultural project, totally as it is. Why the insurer too must be open to the insured or the prospect about what can be covered, just like the first speaker said, and what cannot be covered. And then the issue of housekeeping must come in, what the insurer must do to improve the insurability of the project, and so on and so forth. So the trust, issue of trust is very, very important. And both sides must work on it. But, the problem of trust has bedeviled insurance in Nigeria for a long time. And that's why you hear insurance group not pay claims, because most people, most clients, once they get insurance policy documents, they don't look at those documents. They just collect the documents and dump it until the day of claim. When an insurance document, policy document is given to you, as a client, you are supposed to look at the policy conditions and ensure that those conditions, that you can adhere to those conditions. If you can't, ask questions. It is, insurance policies are made to cover risks. They are not they are not perfect. And where you think you are not getting enough value for your money, you can complain. But what you see, what you witness in Nigeria over the years, is that people don't look at the insurance conditions. They just collect it and dump the policy until the day of claims. So what I just want to emphasize on is that once you are involved in an insurance contract, look at your policy documents very well. Read it, digest it, ensure that you understand what is contained therein. Finally, I want to talk about, the first speaker has spoken about compulsory insurances, even though the Nigerian, in Nigeria, we don't adhere to most of these things. Otherwise, most of these buildings collapsing here and there, you will hear them. Once clients start, these buildings are collapsing, the owners of such buildings, once they are taken to court and they are well fined, they will insure those buildings. And so many people that are suffering, the third parties, we call them in insurance, who have been suffering results of these collapses, will not be suffering in vain. Finally, I'll talk about agricultural insurance in Nigeria. Agricultural insurance in Nigeria is being covered by NAIC mostly, though there are other private insurance coming in now, and they are all welcome. The only area of difference between NAIC and the other practitioners is that NAIC is a government-owned insurance company. And being a government-owned insurance company, there is a mandate given to us by the NAIC Act, CAF N89 of the laws of the Federation of Nigeria, which empowers NAIC to subsidize premium that the farmer will pay over some selected crops and livestock. So instead of the client to pay 100% of chargeable premium or such selected crops or livestock, they only pay 50% of those premium. But when we are, when they have claims, we compensate them 100%. They don't have to bother about the 50% because we are going to collect it from the federal and state government of the origin of the business. So that is the only difference between NAIC and the other insurance company, apart from the fact that, well, we have the greater spread across all the states of the federation. And of course, we have more of the corporation has been existing for over 30 years. And these new ones coming into agri insurance are our babies, and we love them, and we encourage them, and we would like to, some of their staffs are actually some of our staff that move one way or the other, and we still work together in hand in hand to ensure that we collaborate to ensure that the Nigerian farmer is not left in a lurch. I want to round up now because I believe my time is spent, so that I don't waste more time for other speakers. But I want to emphasize, as the first speaker has said, that it is time for us in Nigeria to take insurance as very, very important. Do you know why? Why is that? One, the resources to be wasted on all these things without insurance is no more there. We don't have the resources to waste in Nigeria. We all know it. When you look at the Nigerian debt profile, you will shake your head for Nigeria. So Nigeria must wake up and embrace insurance. More importantly, insurance ensures accountability. All these farmers or any other person wants to insure your product or your project, the insurer will be there to ensure that the necessary housekeeping activities are taken care of. Because it is the interest of the insurers and the insured that the risk does not affect the insured. Why? so that the insurer does not have to pay the claims, so that the risk does not set the insured backward, because the risk will set the insured backward to the level where he was. Whereas if the risk does not crystallize, the insured will not be set backward to where he was. He was supposed to move further ahead to gain more resources for his project. So it is the interest of the insurer and the insured that the risk does not crystallize. So we should now, all hands should now be on deck to tell everybody to ensure that we insure everything. Like the first speaker said, life insurance is there, other insurances are there. Even now, the micro insurance, just like the microfinance, is being considered everywhere. It's being considered. Even though we don't have the architecture for micro insurance, we are working all right to ensure that we put it in place so that the people in the village, whether through one Isusu group or the other, if they have been managing their resources that way, it should not be difficult for insurance company to key into all those local arrangements and make sure that people benefit from micro insurance for their products and their local sources of income. So I want to appreciate you once again. I want to stop here and expect questions that we be asked by listeners. Thanks so much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Olowokere. I hope I got that right. Thank you very much. Olowoyeye. Thank you. Okay. Olowoyeye. Okay. Thank you so very much for sharing that brief insight on agriculture insurance. So that is it, ladies and gentlemen. Those are our two speakers for today. We will now go to the question and answer session. But before we do that, I'd just like to quickly remind you of some of the key points that have been shared today. First, we listened to Mr. Ekerete Gam-Ikon, who shared with us on the need for insurance and what is insurable. Now, we need to know the kind of assets that can be insured. He also said that we also need to know, as practitioners, what we should be insuring: our assets, our staff, our goods. Insurance can only happen or cover physical or real assets. So just that you have a farm is not enough to get insurance. It must be converted to a state where it is insurable. And then we also heard from Mr. Olowoyeye, who was speaking on behalf of the Managing Director of Nigerian Agricultural Insurance Corporation. And he told us about how the corporation is working to ensure that farmers get insurance and they are not set back as a result of unforeseen circumstances. And he also told us that when you have an insurance policy, you should please take time to study the contract. Don't wait until the risk crystallizes, meaning don't wait until something goes wrong before you read your insurance. And I find this very interesting that there are a lot of conversations around insurance going on in the agribusiness industry. I'd like to ask one or two questions. First to Mr. Olowoyeye, that what is the current participation level by farmers in insurance in Nigeria? What is the current participation level? And what are you trying to do to make more farmers adopt insurance? So I would like you to just share with us briefly, what's the current participation level? And what are you planning to do to encourage more farmers to participate?
Yes, thank you so much. The current participation level in agricultural insurance in Nigeria is less than 3%. And we are happy, like I said, that some new people are coming in. We welcome them. We, like I said, we mentor some of them. What we are trying to do now is to go into what I call publicity campaign. Right now, every geopolitical zone, we carry out what we call farmer sensitization. The last one that was done in Kano and Borno. Recently, in fact, the chief whip of the Federal House of Representatives was there to identify with because it was in collaboration with the National Assembly. So what we do is that we talk to the farmers, Umbrella Farmers Association, Commodities Association, and we talk to them of the need for insurance. And we don't just do that. We host them for 2-3 days. We pay for their hotel accommodation, and we turn them to ambassadors of the corporation to tell their member farmers and those that are not even their members to embrace agricultural insurance. Then more importantly, we have, like I said, we are designing a publicity campaign that we want to share with our numerous farmers across Nigeria through the radio station, because that is the widest media coverage they can get, more than any other media source. So we are working on that. But currently we want to it's a wish to move from geopolitical zones, because these days we only touch 2 or 3 states by geopolitical zones, but we want to touch every state in the geopolitical zone on this farmer sensitization, so that will cover every state, so that when we train the farmers ambassadors, then they can be able to disseminate the information to their members. That is what we are doing right now to ensure that this information on agricultural insurance is spread across the farmers in the Federation. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Oloyeye. One more question before you go. There was something you said about people having to study the contracts.
Yes.
How are they going to be able to, what advice do you have for people in studying their insurance contracts? Why do they have to do so? And how can they do so?
Okay, thank you so much. An insurance contract is a legally binding document binding the first party, which is the insurer, and the second party, which is the insured. And sometimes it concerns the third party, if it's general business. For example, if you are driving your car, if somebody is driving a car and the person hits another person, that person he has hit is the third party. The law does not allow him to suffer. That is why motor insurance is very compulsory, especially motor insurance third party is very compulsory in Nigeria. The third party is that person that is suffering, whether you hit him personally, or you hit his building, or you hit his car, or you hit this thing. So that person, the law does not allow him to suffer. So it means that the person who hit that third party will now come to his insurer. I've hit this person. Then the insurer will now compensate that third party. So the essence of studying insurance contract is that you look at it very well. This document binding me and the insurer, does it cover what I want it to cover? So many people complain. Now, insurance companies don't pay premium and they don't pay claims. When you are supposed to cover your car with comprehensive, for example, let me talk about general insurance. When you want to cover you are supposed to cover your car with comprehensive policy. You are covering your car with third-party policy. That third-party insurance policy only covers the third party. If you hit that person, it is only that person that will be compensated, not you. Even if your car is damaged, that is your problem. You go and repair it yourself. Then when you come to insurance will tell you, no, you can't be compensated. It's only the third party that should be compensated, because it is the third party agreement or package that you have. But if you have comprehensive package, that comprehensive package will allow the insurer to compensate you, who is the second party, and it will also compensate the third party involved in any accident or any problem. So that is the essence of studying that policy very well. So when you say, okay, I have an insurance cover, And what you are having is third party. You don't understand it. You don't understand the nature of the insurance. There will be a fight when the claim crystallizes, and then they will say insurance people are dodging. They don't want to pay claim, not knowing that it is you, the insured, that didn't study the nature of the contract that you have. That is why it is very essential for every insured to look at the policy document to ensure that what they want covered is actually covered. And it's not difficult. It's written in simple English. You sit down and look at it, one by one, paragraph by paragraph. You challenge your insurance officer. Insurance officer, what is the meaning of this? What is the meaning of this? And then they will tell you. There is no ambiguity. And the beauty of insurance contract is that if there's any ambiguity, that ambiguity will be resolved in favor of the insured, not in favor of the insurer. And that is why insurance companies are always drafting their policies without ambiguity. Because if there's any ambiguity, the law court will resolve it in favor of the insured. Thank you. I believe I've answered your question.
Thank you very much, Mr. Loyeye. You have indeed answered the question. I am going to ask Mr. Ekerete Olagamikan some questions, but before I do that, I'd like to set the tone for the Q&A session. So we are going to have an open mic for participants, and the rule is if you want to speak, please raise your hands and speak. But if you have a very long question or a comment, please kindly type it in the Q&A session. If you have a question, type it in the Q&A session so that we can answer a very long question. But if you will speak, you have only 1 minute to speak. Raise your hand, I will recognize you, and we'll give you the mic to speak. But just before I open the floor to you, I want to get Mr. Ekerete Ikon back in the dialogue, and I want to ask Mr. Ekerete Ikam, what is the way that an investor, how will an investor know that their investment is covered, especially for some of us on this platform who are small investors? How can we know that our investment is covered by insurance when we invest in an agribusiness platform that is offering returns? How can we know? Please, can you share with us?
Okay, can you hear me, Helen?
I can hear you loud and clear, as usual.
Okay, thank you so much for your question. And I think it will help to restate the fact that insurance, by its very nature, does not cover investments. All right. Now,
you're breaking my heart.
Now, because investment is speculative.
You're breaking my heart. I need help.
Sorry, I'm holding it. Because investments, like I said earlier, is speculative risk. You could gain or lose. So insurance is only about pure risk where you are losing. Having said that, I did say something about due diligence in the course of my presentation. Mm-hmm. You cannot put your money somewhere and not know who is in charge of that money. So if someone has shown you a flyer that says, give 100,000 naira and get 400,000 naira back or whatever, you need to check the names that have been put there, the numbers that have been put there, make that call to confirm. If you see an insurance name and you think in your mind that this insurance, because they have partnered with this company, are probably covering my investment, please make that call to confirm. All right? Because, and I see a lot of people showing that I'm breaking hearts here in the chat box. The truth of the matter is that the truth of the matter is that I need Nigerians to understand this. A lot of time people fail to see the place of insurance in their lives. Someone will open a bank account before having an insurance account. But what does the bank account do for you? It pays you money, it takes money from you, it helps you to give money to somebody. When something happens, what do you do? Where do you go to? You can't go to the bank. So if agribusiness owners and people who are doing investment understand that a risk will come, and indeed what you are doing is a risk, how are you protecting yourself from the risk that may happen? If you can't answer that question, then you shouldn't go further. You know, so when an insurance company says, I am partnering with a project or an agribusiness owner, I'm telling you today that the only relationship between that insurance company and the agribusiness owner is all of the things that the agribusiness owner has: the crops, the machines, the farm, and all of that. Certainly not the money that he collected from somebody. So please.
But now that you've said this, sorry to stop you, but now that you've said this, all of the things that the agribusiness owner owns, does that not include the crops that I am investing in? Should it not cover
let me further explain this. Okay. Now, I did say that if you convert the capital that you got from an investor into the crops and all of that, you are covered. If the crops are damaged, insurance will pay you. If the equipment is damaged, insurance will pay you. Insurance never covered the cash you collected from somebody. So if that cash is lost, if that cash is lost, then sorry, insurance will not pay you. I'm sorry to break your heart.
So our money is going to voicemail. That's what you mean. Our money goes to voicemail. Be that.
The way to deal with this will probably be for you to ask the investor or the agribusiness owner whom you gave money to provide what we call, to give you a lien on the crops and all of those other things that he has insured. But I'm still saying to you that if nothing happens to those things, if they are not stolen, they are not damaged, insurance cannot come up. The contract does not cover, that you lost money. No, insurance does not cover that. But if the crops are damaged, if you didn't make the money that you were supposed to make from selling, maybe insurance can cover that.
Okay, thank you very much for answering my question. I will still smile, even though I'm heartbroken. I can see some hands up from the audience. So some guidance on this question and answer session, because we want as many people as possible to speak. Secondly, we also want to be able to finish on time. So I see some hands up. First, let me recognize Parminder to please ask her question. So we can unmute Parminder to ask her question. Ishola, please get ready. I'll call you next after her. So Parminder, please, you have the floor now. You can ask your question.
Thank you very much. Firstly, thank you very much for the amazing presentations. I guess, insurance is, trust, I agree, but it also requires money. And how do you really change the mindset of people that insurance is not a nice to have, but an absolutely critical part of your business planning?
Okay, thanks so much, Paminda, for this question. I think people need to understand that at any point you decide to start a business, you have taken up a risk. Now, you are on that journey with the risk accompanying you on that journey, and you need to begin to ask yourself, what am I doing about the risk? Now, there are certain risks, like I did say in my presentation, that you can deal with. So you keep those ones to yourself. If your pencil is missing, you can easily buy another pencil. If your car is missing and you are not in a position financially to just easily buy another car, you need to have done insurance for that car. If your business, which most of the time people set up on the basis of a life savings and then getting money from family and friends, Since it is that critical to you, you then need to have done insurance in the ways that should you lose, you will have a fallback position. All right. So I hear and I see one of the notes here saying to me that, people are doing crowdfunding because of insurance. I will like to say that if I engage them one by one to say, why did you invest? And they told me insurance. I would like to know, they themselves, do they understand what insurance means? Because if insurance does not mean anything to you as a risk taker, then why would you think insurance will become available because you just gave somebody money? So if insurance is what has been driving crowdfunding for this period of time that we have been doing it, without hesitation, how many people have actually taken time to ask the insurance companies the question of, are you insuring crowdfunding? So it's interesting. Our own expectation is that people will know that the moment you wake up, you are facing a risk. What kind of risk are you facing? What kind of risk can you deal with? The one that you cannot deal with, you then take it to the insurance company. And in taking it to the insurance company, I have said repeatedly, the fundamental questions you must ask is, how do you pay your claims? Because it is when a claim occurs that you know whether or not you had insurance or not. There is good insurance and there is bad insurance.
Thank you very much, Mr. Gamikon. I have Ishola. His hand has been up for a while. I'd like to hear from Ishola. Ask your question, please, Ishola. Can you unmute Ishola, please? Can you unmute yourself? Ishola Elisha Oladuni, please unmute yourself and ask your question. Unmute yourself, Ishola. Well, that hand is up, but I don't think he seems to have heard me. Can you please unmute yourself, Ishola Elisha Oladuni? Okay, whilst I'm waiting for Ishola to handle his technology, can I hear from Andrew Iyaji? Andrew Iyaji, can you please unmute yourself and speak?
Thank you very much. Very exciting.
Okay, so if you have a challenge with your audio, we'd have to continue. I have some questions in the box here.
Exactly. And then the other one of Nike, if that one could be answered, the refund president had, shared that terrible experience he had. So I think those are the two questions. Thank you.
Okay,
if those can be answered.
Okay, good. So I'm going to the Q&A box now to read some of the questions I have there. The first one is for the Nike, that FG allows Nike to subsidize premiums for farmers rather than making it available to other insurance companies to encourage competition and better services. There have been arguments against this practice. What does Nike have to say about that? Mr. Olowoyeye, what do you have to say about that?
Thank you so much. Sometimes they
I have like 3 questions for you, but I want you to take them one at a time. So please make your answers very brief. Thank you, sir.
Sometimes at the beginning of this year, a complaint was made by Commodity Association to the Villa, Presidential Villa, complaining about Nike, that they had a problem with us. And we were able to convince the Villa that the problem they had with us was that the premiums for that project was not paid on time. And that is why we could not accommodate the claims. Now, they were able to complain to the villa because NAIC is a government company. If it is a private company, you can't complain about a private insurance company to the villa. What concerns the villa with private investors? If you cannot keep to the term of your contract, then the claim will not be paid. So the essence of backing up NAIC with subsidy is to enable us to help the farmers to embrace agricultural insurance so that they will not be outpriced. If you allow the insurance companies that are just coming in to just if they give the subsidy to all those insurance companies that are coming in, the government does not have the control that it has on us, on all those private insurance companies. They cannot hold them to account. The way they hold us to account, they can't hold them. That is why we are the custodian of that subsidy, and we are using it within the best of our ability. And we also collaborate with some of these insurance companies. Like I said, we agree with them on some issues, and we disagree with them on some issues. And more importantly, when we are working together, all the pre-insurance inspection of these agri projects are always conducted by NAIC. We don't ask them to conduct those inspections. We conduct it on behalf of the group. So that is why we are there. And like I said, the government has control over us. They don't have control over general insurance practitioners. So that is why we are the custodian of that subsidy.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Oloye, for that answer. There's another question for you here, and that is, it has to do with how do I get, okay, you've answered the one on RTIN. Another person says, how do I confirm what is covered in the agribusiness investment? Do I ask the investment company for policy number, or how? Can you please share that?
Okay, now we have what we call the Nigeria Insurance Industry Database. If you have a cover with NAIC or any other insurance company across Nigeria, you can confirm you just send the query to that database. It will confirm your policy that you are insured. If you are not covered, it will tell you that your policy is not present in the database. It means that you are falling into the hands of a fraudster.
Okay, thank you very much.
Do
you want to share a directory where they can, an address? Do you have a website address? You can maybe type in the chat box or the Q&A session so that that person can know where to find the NIID.
Well, all you need to, I don't have the address of head now, but if you Google the NIID or Nigeria Insurance Industry Database, that person will get the guidelines on how to go about all those activities.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Oloye. Mr. Gam-Ikon, this question is for you. Someone says here in the chat box that after going through my company's insurance policy, I realized that there were so many disclaimers and was wondering why her boss or his boss should take an insurance cover in the first place when there are so many disclaimers. What is the best insurance for a poultry farm that would also cover the investors?
Okay, so I think the first part of the question, which talks about disclaimers, may have been addressed by my colleague when he said you needed to read the policy documents, and anything you are not comfortable with, you can seek for it to be amended. And so the insurance company will have to agree with you to also amend it. So talking about disclaimers, it's really, I mean, to draw your attention to what is not acceptable or what is not covered, so that you may now, make that observation. And sometimes you are required to pay additional premium for the kind of cover you want. it's possible, it's there, and it's part of the practice. All right. So the issue of disclaimer is in every agreement, so to say, that you will see something you don't like, and so you need to call for it to be amended, corrected. And if you still don't like it, you can then go to another provider to do that for you. In terms of poultry insurance, I do believe that every insurance company that is involved in agri insurance, does provide cover for poultry business. And so it's a question of which insurance company do I want to use at this time, So that's what I think the person should do.
Okay, there's another question here, and I'm sure some people in the audience may want to know that how do I assess insurance cover as an upcoming agribusiness owner? Insurance cover and loan, but since we are talking insurance, you may want to advise here.
Okay, so I did respond to that question also in the box, and I would just like everyone to know that if you wanted insurance, let's even talk about how people are doing it currently. If you wanted insurance, Helen, I'm sure you will look for who you know that works in the insurance area, which is fine, But
interestingly enough, I'm a non-executive in an insurance company, but I didn't want to advertise that.
So I'm sure you will. The first place you will call will be that insurance company.
Yes. Yes.
So insurance is so much about relationship. That's the point I was trying to make. However, when you then need to achieve service in terms of quality service that you desire to have, it's always important to take the further step of finding out about the insurance company that you have identified. And then finding out means that you need to go to the regulator and also the association that covers insurance companies. And sometimes it's easier to even engage a broker, an insurance broker, who will have information on all the insurance companies and all the insurance policies available, And your insurance broker is your professional that advises you, and it's at no cost to you. This is something that people should take away as a way of, relieving themselves of all the, experiences that they have had with insurance. Thanks.
Okay, thank you very much. I see one hand up. Victoria, please, you can unmute yourself and ask your question.
Thank you very much, ma'am. I want to ask this question to the two speakers. Having experienced the taste of bad relationship from the insurance company, is it possible for me to sue my marketer? Because the marketer sold me what was sold in the policy, and what myself and the marketer agreed were two different things apart. And when I needed to call for that policy, the marketer said it is above her paid grade. The manager was speaking to Rinchi, and today I have not received my claim. Neither is there any form of debates. So I'm just worried. Is it possible to sue these marketers when they lie when it comes to food? Or how do we handle such issues? Not everybody has time to read those documents. You should be able to trust your marketer. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you very much for that question. It's a very interesting one, Victoria. I'm sure Mr. Oloyeye or Ekerete will be able to give you a very good answer to that. They know how to deal with this insurance. Oh, please go ahead, Ekerete. You have the floor.
Okay, thank you very much, Victoria, for that case study. Unfortunately, I'm calling it a case study. Forgive me. And I also would like to, apologize on behalf of the insurance company and the insurance industry. You see, the real issue is, again, back to the issue of how we purchase insurance. Sometimes, because of the relationship, a lot of things are taken for granted. That the person will cover your back, like we say. Unfortunately, the marketer, is only interested in meeting up her targets. And once she gets your document to the office, there's a different set of people that are dealing with the documents. And then this marketer, who now acts as your agent, advisor, has not taken time to read through what has been in that document, hands it over to you. You also, assume that what I said was what it is. And in fact, maybe you even read and understood it to mean that what you said is what is there. The only time you know, like I said earlier, that you have a good insurance or a bad insurance is when a claim occurs. Very unfortunate thing as it is for insurance, which is why, I say get an insurance broker. But in this case, the way to also respond, because something has already gone bad, is still not late for you to have gotten an insurance broker involved. To get professional advice on how to go about recovering your claim. Your insurance broker can do that for you. All right. And secondly, you needed to also report your case to the regulator. The regulator, the insurance regulator, National Insurance Commission, has a complaints desk where they receive complaints like this and address them. Some are difficult to address, immediately. Some are addressed easily. There is also the complaints desk of the Nigerian Insurance Association. It's something that I am also involved in. Helping customers to resolve their claim issues and all of that. So I really would like to look at this specific case of yours and see how we can, remedy the situation.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you. Mr. Lowe, do you want to add anything to what Ekerete has said?
Yeah, I said it all. The only thing I want to add is to plead with the client not to go go back on insurance. She should embrace insurance because you never can tell. The fact that somebody failed you does not mean that you should fail yourself again by not insuring your project. Please go back to insurance. As my colleague has said, you can link with him, link with NICOM. We have so many cases of these things that have been, if you are not happy, if you believe you have been cheated, go to NICOM. They will call the insurance company to order. Thank you very much.
Yes, I can confirm that NICOM is very active in attending to claims, especially complaints from customers, because the primary purpose of insurance is to pay claims. Otherwise, there's no need to pay claims. But I think another thing I like to add is that the way insurance is practiced in Nigeria is not, because insurance is not well taken by everybody, it presents another challenge. But that's a conversation for the experts to deal with. Okay, I see Edobong, you have your hand up. But just before I recognize you, there's someone I'd like to respond to. Rebecca Oshewa, I see here that you are interested in working with cotton farmers in Nigeria. And I've said that you should please get in touch with African farmers. Send a private message to Edobong Akpabio. Share your email, and we'll definitely get in touch with you to see how we can work together to exploit that opportunity. Okay, Edobong, you have the floor now. Please lower your hands, unmute yourself.
Yeah, thank you, Helen. Thank you, Helen. I think the problem that insurers are having with crowdfunding platforms is the way the investment is packaged. Mm-hmm. When the investment is packaged for insurance, it reveals to them what it wants the insurer to insure. But what happens is that the insurer does not have the cognizance of the investment itself. I'm talking about what comes from the investors to insure. So I think the packaging needs to be done well. It needs to be done right. I recall that there was a crowdfunding package that actually says that whatever it is that you are paying is for 1 acre of one activity or the other. Now, what that means is that when the insurer is covering that activity, it is covering your investment. I have a bit of an idea about what is happening in insurance because I've been there. I've been trained there. I've been a practitioner there, and I have had to represent my organization in that activity. So I have an idea. So it's poorly packaged. The insurer focuses on the activity, but the crowdfunding platform did not provide for the investor's interest, because if it did, it would have been something that would have been tangible for the insurer to insure. That didn't happen. So I think it needs to be repackaged, because even when you go calling NIID and all of that, you will see that the person has provided insurance, but it's not for you, it's for the activity. So we have to go back home now, so that those who are involved in crowdfunding, they need to repackage that investment so that the investment can have the tangible interest of the investor. Otherwise, it's not possible for the insurer to cover. And the expectation of the investor will always clash, because you are telling, I'm seeing a lot, and you know what, one of the things that happened recently was that the crowdfunding investments, there was so much hype on the insurance, on the insuring company. And so investors went to sleep until it went bust. And that was when investors were told that your interest was not covered. So we need to look at it again and sit down with the insurance experts, everyone that wants to go into crowdfunding. We need to sit together so that you are not just called, because sometimes even the compensation for the loss may not even cover the interest of the investors. So we need to repackage crowdfunding investment platforms. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much. I mean, now talking about case studies, I just wanted to be sure that the question by Andrew Yaji, that the president of Refund said that he was offered less than 6% of what was insured and what his policy covered. How could it be that someone would get 6% of what was insured as compensation? Mr. Olowoyeye, can you please just clarify that for us, please?
Okay. I think what the refund, I'm not aware of that case, but I'm aware of refund. You know, refund is Right Farmers Association of Nigeria.
Yes.
And they enjoy good patronage or backing because of the efforts of the country to produce the production of rice, mass production of rice. Now, they have members. Since they have so many members, some of their investments are insured through some banks. I don't want to mention the name of a particular bank. Some banks pay the premium. Some banks are serving as brokers or agents. Let me say agents, sorry. So those banks that were serving as agents, some pay the premium to Nike, and a particular bank refused to pay that premium. So that was the one I was talking about at the beginning of this year, sometimes this year, that were reported to the villa. So, and they wanted to compel they wanted the villa to compel us to pay the claims. But we made it clear to the villa that as much as we are government agency, we still work on the principle of insurance and the letters of the Insurance Act that governs insurance operations in Nigeria. And the letter in section 50 says, no premium, no cover. So the premium was not paid to us. The one that were paid to us, when the risk crystallizes through the other banks, we pay compensation. but I'm not sure. I don't think it's 6%. It can never happen. It's not 6%. Maybe the person was misquoting. So it's not 6%. So there was no complaint from those ones. The complaint only came on those that the premiums were not paid. And we made the villa to understand that, look, we cannot. Because why? Apart from breaking the law, when the premium was not paid, apart from breaking the law of the insurance law, we will be doing the company a lot of evil. If we now, because the premium was not paid, we couldn't make all the insurance arrangement that we should have made to cover us. We cannot say we are running this organization on behalf of the government. And the government will not be happy that we run the organization aground. Because at the end of every year, we still have to pay something as part of our profit to the consolidated fund to show that we are doing our work and that we are making profit, however little, for the nation. So, if this premium is not paid, we couldn't have compensated them, and that's what we made clear to the villa. And so it is not 6%. In NAICAS, we never, because apart from the fact that we are government agency and the government can breathe down on us, NICOM is there, we belong to NIA. There are so many checks and balances to ensure that insured are not shortchanged. Is there anything I need to add that I missed?
No, well, I think that has sufficed for now. That would suffice for now. Thank you very much, Mr. Loyeye, and thank you very much, Ekerete, for your insights and for helping preserve our hearts. So on behalf of all my fellow colleagues in the audience, we want to thank you very much for a job well done today. But before we go, I'd like to ask all the panelists to please open their videos so that we can take a group photograph. And after that, Paminda Vey will give the closing remarks. Oh, I see your hand up, Paminda. You want to say something? But I'd like us to take a group photograph. So all of us that are panelists should please open our videos so that we can take a group photograph and preserve this session. I want to remember Ekerete's face when I'm nursing my heart.
Oh my. Oh my.
I speak for everybody on the floor.
Don't worry. We are taking you on a new experience.
I have designer tissue. I have designer tissue for you to wipe.
Okay, Paminda, you have the floor.
I love the way that I get put on the spot, huh? I was actually thoroughly enjoying the discussion and the Q&A and thinking, oh my goodness. You know, one of the things I kept reflecting on when you were talking about insurance in the agriculture sector was I was being taken back to the sector that I worked in, which was the film sector. And there was never, there's never a case where you can go and make a film without taking insurance. Because when you're in production, anything can go wrong, right? And I remember in one production where the actress broke her ankle in the middle of the shoot. That meant that for 5 days, my film was stopped. And when you're in production, you're bleeding money. And I was so grateful that we had insurance because those 5 days were covered. Or, my entire production was covered by insurance.
Yeah.
I guess that my takeaway is that, yes, you have to do all of the things that, you have so eloquently told us, but, do not underestimate, as no matter what business you're in, and particularly agriculture, because it is so susceptible to things that are beyond your control, right? And that you need to mitigate risk by having that protection that you can fall back on. So insurance, this is the second time that we've spoken about insurance for smallholder farmers, for farmers. We really have to take this knowledge to the farmers and actually break it down for them and tell them, why it's important, and actually then facilitate and enable them to be able to take advantage of the, of the value of insurance. Yeah. So I think
Fantastic.
on behalf of Victoria, she is the one who should be summing this up, and the Support for Africa SMEs, the African Farmers Stories. What you don't know is this all started as a bunch of volunteers, all of us who couldn't sit and watch what was happening during COVID, and the farmers were being particularly hit during COVID across the African continent and the African SMEs. And the entire team that's behind Support for Africa SMEs and the African Farmer Stories. This webinar is doing it out of passion and volunteering. Belucci's on this line, Ileri is doing this, Felix is managing this extraordinary technology that's enabled us to have this conversation and to get this extraordinary knowledge from our two amazing speakers. So I would just like to say thank you to the speakers, thank you to Victoria, thank you to Helen and Edubong for this extraordinary, management of the event today, and to our dynamic little team. They may be small but mighty team, for their passion for Africa, passion for SMEs, passion for African farmers. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Over to you, Edabong. Thank you. See you all again some other time. Bye-bye.
Yeah.
Have a wonderful Saturday evening.
Thank you, Helen. That was a wonderful moderation. The session was was almost getting teary, and I was designing the wipes that I was going to share to everyone.
So all of us
But
whose
you
hearts
see
have been
what,
broken
yes,
by Kerete.
what Pamida said is so right. We are discussing insurance in the theme, the need for patient capital. So beyond even crowdfunding investments, yesterday, Richard and Bolaji spent a lot of time telling us, look, let's port, from crowdfunding to portfolio investments. That one also is going to involve insurance cover. And it's something we need to now consider. I learned a lot there because I was wondering, so what do we do? Crowdfunding is what we hear everywhere. But yesterday was so spelt out, and it's so interesting and more sustainable really for me. So I think insurance also needs to, look at what is happening there, so we can, because that's where we are going to get money to really develop agriculture. There's just so much that smallholder farmers can do. But if you want to step on all these government initiatives, good, but are they sustainable? So we really need the kind of capital that comes from portfolio investment that can really, give it get it to the big levels, the shark ocean levels. And that's where we need to be operating now. 60 years of independence, and we are still talking smallholder farmers. Hello. So I think it's something that insurance companies are going to have a whole lot on their hands to be able to pull together for us. And then the micro insurance thing too is looking new, but I haven't been able to see the implementation. I know there are regulatory issues that need to be trashed, and so some other ones. So I really think that the insurers can put their act together, do a lot of work to ensure that some of these things are implemented, because the market is huge, really, really huge. And we need to have insurance cover anyway. If tomorrow somebody wants to do a mobile health facility that goes around the rural areas, and definitely the chief market will be the farmers there. Where is the micro that will cover them? I think it's something that we need to get on board immediately. And this webinar provides an opportunity for us to be able to bring all of this out. It's been a very interesting 2 days, very, very interesting 2 days. I want to thank all the participants, especially those who've stayed till the end. I know some people have told me backstage that they've had network issues from their locations. They would have been so happy to be with us till the end, because this concerns them a lot. Many are located in areas where they don't even know about insurance. True, somebody was asking, this is where I'm located. How can insurance help me? I'm a farmer. I wouldn't have believed that in 2020 there could be such question. But that is just to say, it's not all government agriculture initiatives that are covered by NAIC. Otherwise, this person will not say what he's saying. So I think it's something that insurance companies need to know, that the gap is too wide. It needs to be closed. And this webinar will help us to do that. I just want to implore the participants to hit their social media handles, because there's so much information that has been shared today. And a lot of the people that would have joined or couldn't stay to the end, they would want to know. We'll try our best to do that. But you can say, just like Helen has asked, what have you learned today? You know, what's your take home? What's your takeaway from what we've done today? Hit your social media handles with it. Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, even tell your friends on WhatsApp and Telegram what has happened today. So everyone gets to know, because truly, insurance covers everyone. We should have insurance for everybody. 200 million Nigerians, and how many billions of people in Africa? We don't have the kind of insurance coverage that we should, and we need to do something about it. Thank you very much, everybody. Tomorrow is another day, day 3, and the last day for this 3-day webinar. Her Excellency Dr. Mrs. Olufolake Abdulrazak has been gracious to provide this opportunity for us. We thank you very much, ma. Thank you so much, Alhaji Muritala Olariwaju, the Honorable Commissioner for Agriculture, Kwara State. Thank you very much, Mr. Oloyeye, representing the MD of NAIC, Mrs. Folashade Joseph. It's been a pleasure having you, sir. Thank you, Ekerete Gamikon. I love you every single day. Thank you so much. See you tomorrow, participants, and bye-bye.